Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of Somebody turn up something over there. Somebody turn up something over there. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. We have a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as we always do. Before we get started, I gotta say, well, my name is Raheem. Y'all know I ain't important. I'm just a fella sitting over here, man, just running my mouth a little bit. But I want to say good morning to everybody else. Good morning, Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
And good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
Everything going good with you?
Yes, how about you?
Hey man, going well. I ain't a happy, elephant elated, and porcupine proud to be here, man. That's what I am. I'm just saying, just look, just a little bit about me. Just a little bit about me. Badger, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Another beautiful and blessed day.
There you go. There you go. Good deal, good deal. And Charles, good morning. How you doing this morning?
All is well, man. Bless.
Good deal. Good deal. I want to ask. I want to ask a question. And we got background noise coming from somebody's line. I think that might be Charles's line there. Let me mute this line there for a sec. Got you muted, Charles. You got a little background noise coming from you there, so I'll unmute you when I come to you. Leonard, it's getting hot and heavy, brother.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
Huh?
You just
No,
think
it
it
ain't.
is. You just think it is.
Well, we got all this politics thing going on right now. We got a lot of things going on in the political world, man. Give us the update. What's going on?
Well, of course, it's a great time to look at the transition.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great time to look at individuals who have backgrounds of being committed to community and activism
Mm-hmm.
and leadership positions. So
Mm-hmm.
we're very much looking forward to those different types of uh, resources that they use to really make a lot of the things that we have talked about at grassroots level
Mm-hmm.
to incorporate them into balanced government. We know that Khalid Kamal out in South Fulton is using a process of filing to increase the power of the mayor. It's called a
Mm-hmm.
strong mayor system, where the mayor is definitely in front of the leadership direction
Mm-hmm.
of the city. And it helps him also to take his ideas and transform them into policies.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
we were going to have a good time watching to actually see how that works, because we have been uh, associated with Brother Kamal for some time. We
Mm-hmm.
know what he's always tried to do in the past. And so it's going to be great to see what the new younger generation does with these leadership opportunities.
Okay. Okay. Now, is this process that he's talking about? Is it something that's new, a new
No,
process that? Okay.
no.
So it
What
has a
what
history.
what what the attack has been on African American power has been
Mm-hmm.
the use of things like city managers, for instance, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. These types of things that were set up really to undermine the authority of elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
So, by filing for a strong mayor type of situation, sort of gives him the ability to be a lot more aggressive
Okay.
and to make sure that one, that the city is going in the direction of elected leadership.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see, like, say, for instance, in Atlanta, to see a more civil relationship between mayors and city councils.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want our city councils to continuously conflict with the office of the mayor. It has to be a strong working relationship, but there definitely needs to be leadership out in
Mm-hmm.
front.
Okay.
Because if
Okay.
we're going to blame a person for something, they should have authority over what that is.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So, it's good to see from a if you're a policy nerd and leadership type person, administration type person,
Mm-hmm.
to see what people do with the authority that they're given.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm multitasking on here, so y'all bear with me for a second. I got a lot of things going on. Like I said, I'm trying to get ready for these guests that's coming in as I'm actually doing the broadcast. But Charles, what do you hear in that, Charles? What are the from where you're sitting? What are the pros and cons in that?
I don't know, man. I look at it. Well, as he was talking, I understand a lot of things he was saying, and I agree with some of them. But I think our path.
What?
If we,
what?
I mean, I agree with a lot of things. I just don't agree with everything. Even with conservatives, I agree with a lot of things, but I just don't agree with everything. I don't even agree with everything I do. I'm me. So I don't think anybody agree with everything themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Look at ourselves. I could have done better. But anyway, but when I look at it in the black community, man, the way that we move into politics and things like that, and I know I focus a lot on power and money, because to be honest, money.
Hey, Charles, you must have had a call because your volume went down a little bit. Did you have a call?
Probably in the bad area. I'm driving along.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. Go ahead.
We've been doing the same. It seems like we've been doing the same thing for the past some odd years. I feel like as making money in America, as family, money in families, we're like second to last, or not, if not last. Business-wise and things like that, we're like second to last. When you look at the Asian community has gone over everyone. We need to copy what they're doing. You don't constantly hear them talking about marching and things like that. And then I don't think that means because we are, and it might be, I don't know, that blacks are focused on, from a political standpoint, to keep us down. Or are we keeping ourselves down? You know what I'm saying? Are we doing the wrong thing? Are we keeping ourselves down? Are we still trying to do the same thing constantly every year, and we keep getting the same result? We might switch it up, instead of an orange, we make it an orange with a twist. Instead of an apple, we make it apple pie. But it's still the same thing, but we're still the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to families making money. And what that makes to me is that when you make money, you lobby. When you lobby, you make laws and rules. You have the money to do those things. You have the power. You don't even have manufacturers. The only black manufacturing company that manufactures cars right now, blacks don't even know about. You got to go Google it, man. Blacks don't even know about it. He's the only guy in America manufacturing cars that's black owned. So when he becomes powerful like that, this guy can be so powerful that he can help make laws and make things. Because money is money. If we try to make them change rules by hurting their pocket, then we need to make our pocket fat to make rules. You know what? Because they say we're gonna make them change rules. We're gonna hurt the pocket. Well, then if that's the case, if you know the pocket makes the rules, then you make your pocket better so you can make the rules. You get it? I mean, you can't be one without the other. Not all the time.
Okay.
So we kind of went out to, so it might be me. Go ahead, brother.
Hello?
Well, of course, it looks like Raheem is most likely stuck badger.
Okay. Well, I was going to chime in. I didn't know if Charles was going to keep going or if he was coming to me. But, see, I guess I just have different views sometimes, because to me, I think if all of us quit going to Walmart all of a sudden, I think it would shake America to its core.
Well, it's also, there has to be a balanced approach. As a involved in activism, I always get people to look into the fact, are you moving on emotion or are you moving based on the need for a change? And do you have a solution or can
Yeah.
you contribute to the solution? So a lot of times, based on, and this is for public administrators of all kinds, there has to be a balanced approach.
Hmm.
When it comes to certain things in certain areas, like some people say, man, I want to boycott such and such and such. Okay. Now, by boycotting them, what do you want? What do you want the outcome to be? You know, you have to protest and boycott and things strategically and with a purpose. There will never be there's no reason whatsoever to destroy a Walmart
No,
or you know what has happened. I think with Walmart is people don't understand that, like you said, demand is what drives progress. Demand for cheaper and more resources and things like that, and products and services, is what is bringing these things to various communities. People want a Walmart in their community. They want a Walmart in their community for different reasons than people want to build a Walmart in the community. So those are two various different ideas, and they don't always go together, or it's not always as simple as people think, or going to work by just, like you say, boycotting.
well, what I was bringing up was I'm not sure what boycotting is,
Exactly.
but more approaching it from the standpoint of not being focused on earning a whole lot of money to hurt somebody else's pocketbook when you can just not go shopping for a day.
And see, these are the types of things that, you know, say for instance, as a person with public administration, that is a way of life that you're speaking of. There are some people who choose a certain way of life, and they have to understand that not everybody else chooses that same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's always going to have to be a balanced approach to governance by anybody. It's great to have endorsements by people like Kamal, for instance, down in city of South Fulton. He is a self-described democratic socialist. We pretty much follow the same page as it relates to balanced government and serving the needs of everyone in the community. Not
Equality.
not taking frustration out on here or there, but working to make them balanced. Not everybody understands how important it is to have capitalism in a way that benefits everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that we try to so much as reverse things back to the way they used to be, but there's a progressive approach. And that approach that has to be progressive, it can't be all about corporate America. It can't be all about poor people. It can't be
Mm-hmm.
all about gay people. It can't be
Exactly.
all about all these other. It has to be a concerted effort of people moving
Mm-hmm.
the entire city forward. Everybody does not want to live your type of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
that's one
good.
thing that frustrates me all the time because most of these movements are, it seems, single-minded one way. Not all of
Mm-hmm.
them, I'm saying some of them. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Exactly.
you got the situation, like you have the situation that African Americans live through, you have the situation that disabled people live through, depending on where they're living at, and so on and so on and so on and so on. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so the working towards the equality of all, to me, should be the main priority.
Let me ask you a question. Along those lines, what, in your estimation, what does that look like? The equality of all. What type picture would that be?
You know, if you work hard enough, you should be able to earn enough to live on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that and I'm just asking for the sake of the conversation, not disputing what you're saying, but that sounds a little bit like capitalism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what is the difference? Because we are a capitalist society, basically.
So to me, if you raise the minimum wage to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you know, you don't need 4 people living in the same house to actually get by every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one parent can take care of their family and go to work and come home.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't increase the price of every other everything else.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of raising the minimum wage is to make it where they make enough money to be able to support themselves.
Okay.
But what
Okay.
ends up happening is they raise minimum wage, and the apartment that was $800 last year is now $1,200
Mm-hmm.
this year.
Mm-hmm.
That thing
They
of
give you that raise.
that thing of mayonnaise, you know,
Mm-hmm.
was $2. Now it's $3.
Mm-hmm.
So how did they solve the problem of raising minimum wage? By increasing things.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that put us right back in the same situation?
It does. It does. But see, that goes right back in, and Leonard know a little more about the economical system, I think, than I do. But Leonard, isn't that the economical system? Because a lot of times in the corporate world, I see people complain all the time, man, I got a raise, man, but my insurance went up. Okay. What's the purpose? What's the real purpose? So explain that, Leonard. Take a couple of minutes and explain that.
Well, it's a couple of different government approaches. Of course, we're
Mhm.
used to the consumer price index, for instance.
Yes.
Consumer price index really determines an input into wages and things of that nature. How much should the average family have? Now,
Mm-hmm.
there is a standard, and then there's how you choose to live.
Mm-hmm.
So, one, you have to constantly add your decision making into this situation. That's part of economics. It's
Yes.
the decisions that you make
Mm-hmm.
with the money that you have.
Mm-hmm. So basically,
It's
what I'm hearing you say is, everybody has the ability, lack of a better term, the ability to be successful based on the path that they choose.
right, because you have to remember there will always be, and people have been fed this notion that somehow everybody would have the same. That's never
Mm-hmm.
going to happen because
Mm-hmm.
everybody doesn't want the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody don't want to contribute as much.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to set a minimum.
Okay.
Now, the purpose of increasing the minimum wage, of course, is to make labor more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
People search go get these jobs or what have you, but I don't care who you are. You can have a great job, but if you got 5 kids, you're going to still have an issue
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for a minimum wage job.
Yes.
Minimum wage job was never for people with maximum responsibility. Minimum wage jobs, for instance, are set at a threshold, a poverty threshold almost. How much does
Mm-hmm.
it cost to buy bread? How much does it cost to buy basic things that people basically need? This is why we have a system in our country that provides subsidized housing and things of that nature that supplements lower incomes as it relates to purchasing food, for instance. So we have these various types of programs for that. However, people are fueling the economy. Even as a worker, you're part of a market.
Mm-hmm.
Your labor is not worth as much as you believe in some situations. So, say for instance, the people who say, you know what, we should pay people working at McDonald's $20 an hour. Great
Mm-hmm.
concept. However, from the business owner point of view, it's different because they're the one responsible for paying it. Now, is their cost, of course, we look at their profit
Mm-hmm.
and target them. Well, that's because they chose to be an owner instead of a laborer.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
why that division is necessary, and that division comes along with increased responsibility, increased income usually.
Mm-hmm.
But if you choose a tribe throwing rocks across a river, that's not going to pay too much because anybody can throw rocks across a river. There ain't no demand for people throwing rocks across the river. But what there is a demand for is a demand for skill, people with skills. People
Mm-hmm.
with skills get paid more. Only reason why we seen uh, 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 pay go up recently is because labor shortage.
Yes.
So the
Mm-hmm.
labor shortage made the business community raise prices.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So say, for instance, if the price of bread just got too high, you have two options. You can force the bread company to only charge a certain price,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Or if you want, you can just go to the competition for bread.
Mm-hmm.
If you see it, you notice they change their prices based on how much other bread companies are charging for their bread on the same shelf. Or they'll
Exactly.
put little stickers on it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But we have to look at that basket of goods, and one, either you're going to fight for programs to supplement, or you're going to try to
What I'm
force.
hearing, what I'm hearing you say, brother, and I don't mean this. I cut you off. But what I'm hearing you say is, having a raise is not necessarily the answer. Am I clear? Am I clear? Because how this
Well,
thing
it
works.
really depends on the question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not, see, too many people looking for an answer to certain things. That's your job.
Mm-hmm.
That's your responsibility. Is
Mm-hmm.
to find your solution to your problem. The answer to Badger's issue may not be the answer to mine.
Exactly. Okay, I can go with that. But my thing is this right here. If they continue and like we was talking about, if they continue to give you a raise, and every time they give you a raise, your insurance goes up and everything that's around you goes up, then that's going to keep you stagnated in the same position. It doesn't matter that you got a raise if you have to pay more, because that raise is snatched away from you.
It depends on what you choose.
Mm-hmm.
Why your raise is not benefiting me, it's not
Mm-hmm.
my issue. I don't know your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm looking at the fact that, one, I'm increasing my payroll.
Mm-hmm.
So, one, I'm paying you more. What you do with your money and how you spend it, that's your business. I don't control how much insurance costs.
Okay, let's deal with that family, that scenario that we spoke about earlier. And we got Minister Neil in with us, and we have Donald Toussaint on the phone line. I see both of y'all, so y'all hold on. We're gonna come to you in just 1 second. Let's deal with that family that we was talking about with the 5 kids. Now they have 5 kids, and they get that raise. The responsibility of having those 5 kids didn't diminish any. Now maybe the raise that they get is not equivalent to the amount of money that they need to be comfortable, not to be happy and just to be comfortable.
But
so what is that? Go ahead.
You chose to have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The system is not based up to compensate you for how many kids you decide to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it.
Mm-hmm.
You chose to have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
They cost. You knew that before you had them. You can't have 5 kids and then your only skills are in demand by McDonald's.
Wow.
So here's my thing on that one.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to make more money, instead of buying that $1 cheeseburger, you now have enough money to buy a combo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a Big Mac combo or whatever that they do nowadays.
Okay.
So wouldn't that over time earn them more money, because of the fact that the American people are actually making more every day to be able to, and they're able to buy more? Not only able to take care of their bills, but now they're actually able to, use a Friday as a reward for their family to go out to a restaurant and actually buy something instead of just going to the grocery store. To me,
Let's see.
there's more, but sorry.
Go ahead. Finish. No. Finish your thought.
To me, instead of buying one thing of mayonnaise or one thing of bread, now you're able to buy 2 of them because the price stayed the same, but your income increased. So you're able to afford more. If you're able to afford more, you can buy more. That's the part that always got me, because when I worked for Walmart, barely making them over minimum wage at the time. This was 8 years ago. It was a constant struggle. I worked my tail end off. Due to my disability and the way I talk, they would not let me be a manager. So I looked around, things like that, found the job that paid more, and that's what I went for.
Okay.
So I understand that aspect as well.
There's a lot of different layers in that. And one of the things I'm gonna see, because I want to get to Minister Neal, and we have Tucson on the line, and we have one of our guests is actually here as well. So I definitely want to bring her in because I know she has a lot to say on what we're talking about right now. Minister Neal, what do you say today? Because my grandmother, she always taught me this concept about always being able to save for a rainy day. Save for a rainy day, because you never know. I think Minister Neal is having some issues with his line, that he got the little fancy phone. So we'll come right back to him. Tucson, good morning. How you doing this morning? Tucson, you there?
Yeah.
What do you say to that, brother? Because what we're talking about right now is economics, and in talking about economics, we came to the conclusion that every time a person get a raise, everything goes up. Even in the corporate world, if you get a raise, and my wife is a part of it, if you get a raise, the insurance and everything that's gonna go up, and so you pretty much gonna be even though you got a raise, you still gonna be pretty much in the same area, because the insurance gonna go up and everything that's around you is gonna go up because of that reason. What do you say to that, brother? How does one win in that situation?
Let me just ask the question. I got an echo for some reason.
Is your line, brother? Anyway. You can't get your phones out of Cracker Jack box. I keep telling you about that, man. You got to go get a real phone, man.
Oh well, yeah. Let me introduce myself. I'm from Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Okay, yes, sir.
Trying to fix that. Yeah. Look, I'm just asking the question. I'm gonna be a question asker today. So if I was making $20 an hour, $23 an hour, and now I'm making $25 an hour.
Okay.
When I go and say, for instance, apply for a loan, they ask me, "What is your gross income?"
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's good. That's it. To me. They don't really worry about how much your insurance is. There's not a breakdown. They'll break it down later on. But they want to know, okay, this guy makes $34 an hour.
But you don't live off your gross. You don't live off your gross. That's what people don't understand.
I understand that. But that's the question they ask. I'm not too bright. I'm not a finance consultant. I'm not none of that. But when they ask me a question, they ask me, how much do you make an hour? And I give them that answer.
Okay.
And they say, you got, because they say, well, I finally I'm making 6 figures. They say, you're in that category. I'm not, maybe somebody else, and our guest can answer that question. Because I'm curious.
We're going to bring her in a little bit, because I know she's wide open right now. She's ready.
They say, okay, you're not making $10 an hour. You're making $30 an hour.
Yes.
Doesn't that put me in a different category?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, doing well. What do you think about what we're talking about this morning? How does one win in that situation? In that scenario, how does one win?
Okay, I just want to go from where you mentioned about your grandmother talked about saving for a rainy day.
Absolutely.
How do you save for a rainy day when you can't even barely keep the lights on your pay? And yeah, there are a lot.
Now you ain't gonna talk about my grandma now. Now you ain't gonna talk about my grandma now. Now you ain't gonna talk about my grandma. No, go ahead. Go ahead. You know I got to be silly.
But when we have most of our homes being headed up by single parents and not by choice, because a lot of these women were married, and once the husband stepped out of the house, the money stopped flowing. He wasn't. We know the scenario. We always I don't even have to get into that.
Yes. Absolutely.
So you have a single mother with 2 children, working 2 jobs, trying to pay light. Yeah, the rent all by itself will almost take up 2 weeks' paychecks almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
How do we do that when she's making, say, $8-10 an hour on a job, and then other jobs you may be making $8-10 an hour. I don't know. It just, as someone that was a single parent that raised children, I was working 2 jobs. I could barely make it with feeding and rent. Had the lights turned off a few times. Just could not do it.
Yeah.
It's just it's not easy. That's all I'm saying. We can say well, they need to do better with it. How I was working 2 jobs. What more could I do to try to make it on the minimum wage as it was at that time?
Well,
I'm just saying.
And you're absolutely right.
I'm just saying.
Exactly. And truth of the matter, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And like I say, she said that to me a long time before she's gone home to glory now. But she would always find a way to save for a rainy day, because you never know when them days are gonna get rainy. And that was during the time I was doing very well. I was doing very well. And but I was making money, but I was spending a lot of money. And so I think that's where her mindset was coming in, not from your scenario, but because of the fact that she knew I was doing well. But in doing well, I bought, I spent. I see something I want, I get it. I wasn't saving too much of anything, really, truthfully. Let's go to Rico, and then after Rico, we're gonna pull our guest in here, because I know she's ready to talk about it. What she got going on, got a lot of powerful things going on, man. So I definitely want to get to her as well. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
No, I can't complain. Grand Rising, and how's everybody doing?
Hey, doing good, brother. What do you say about this, man? It's almost like you robbing Peter to pay Paul in a lot of situations, man. And people, like Cassandra just said, man, a lot of times even the lights got turned off, hit that light switch and nothing happened, because there wasn't enough income. There wasn't enough income to keep everything going. What do you say about that, man? Are we in trouble?
I mean, we've always been in trouble. We got to understand where this great system of capitalism came from, and how it became so great, and why there are organizations such as EEOC and National Labor Relations Boards. Because at one point in time, some of these people that created this great system of capitalism made all of their wealth for free. They got it out of free labor. We talking about minimum wage. How about no wage?
Yes.
How about your life if you don't do what we want to do? And it was legal. It was authorized. So, somewhere humanity came together and said, you know what, man, we got to fight for these people. They deserve pay for this work. Not only do they deserve freedom, but they deserve pay. So somewhere somebody created a system of pay to somewhat make it fair. To me, one of the key words in capitalism is capitalize. See, people will capitalize, and it's obvious that it needs to happen, but you got to be fair about it.
Yes.
I know, what was that, when Bush was in office, when we had to go to war and the prices went up on everything? Don't that sound funny? We get charged twice for wars. Number one, they take a big budget to pay for a war. Then the minute we go to war, they gouge us. See, greedy capitalists take every opportunity to raise the prices, whether they're going to give you a minimum wage increase, or you had a hurricane, we got to raise the prices. And every now and then the government will come in and say, don't you take advantage of these people. Now, that's how we became America. Don't get me wrong. America is America because we took advantage of people and created a system of wealth that was able to build us up so fast and build a military so fast that we're powerful. But this time, we ain't going to let you take advantage of these people abandoning this hurricane, struggling. But at the same time, just think a system had to be put in place, or somebody had to step in and say, this is the wrong time for you to be thinking about your profits.
Yes, come on.
But that's what happens. You get these PPP loans, you get this assistance for COVID, prices go up. Everything shut down, gas go up. But if we in coronavirus, gas go up, we gave y'all some extra money. Well, we're going to give these people some extra money so they can do some things for their families and pay their bills and pay their mortgages and this and that. Yeah, but we're going to raise up the price on this gas and this bread too. They swept it off the shelf, and there's a popular demand for it. See, back when I was saying that about Bush, when he was in office, those people were breaking records up at Wall Street for their bonuses every year. We're breaking records. 800% bonuses. I mean, just all kind of profits being made by all the big oil companies, taking advantage of raping the people. Even when they were lowering the price by the barrel, the government of the United States still had the high price. But then you had a few CEOs that would actually split and share the profits. See, that's where the problem comes in. And I heard Leonard say that earlier about balance. Some of that balance comes with being fair. Share some of the wealth. These people are responsible for you making the profits. Now, if you're a consumer, that's another thing. You know, there are not only just three classes of people when it comes to poverty. You know, well, I'm gonna say lower class, middle class, and upper class. But then you have producers and consumers. Consumers, they get lost in the midst because they have no idea about producing or being a money maker. They just want to make money so they can spend it.
Exactly.
But, you know, we have that system in place. So, you know, really it is necessary for people to really understand how this system was created, where it came from, the thought process of the people who had, I'm going to say, sincere, honorable intentions at first. But greed made them want more and more and more and more, and didn't mind about the fact that they got it from free labor, and then somebody had to come force them to be humane. So we still in that fight to this day, because if you're not careful, the minute you get a raise, that loaf of bread going up to $4.
Exactly.
The minute they raise minimum wage, or another variant of the virus come around, they raising prices. They looking for every opportunity to get richer. So, you know, we got to understand those people lack that balance. You know, I mean, I don't know if money makes them that greedy or just profits, or maybe they just don't understand how to share with people, whether they got 5 children or not, whether they're single mothers or not.
Exactly. Now we got Minister Neal just came back with what I want to do right now. I want to bring our guest in. She's gonna come in and she's gonna talk to us this morning and tell us about her business. She got a lot of great things going on, and she's gonna introduce. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. This is my sis. This is my sis right here. This is Miss Aisha Tompkins. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Doing great. She is actually a part of our family over at Spotlighting Georgia. She's a part of the family over there, man, and she's doing some wonderful and amazing things here in the state of Georgia and probably abroad. But I'm gonna let her address that. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Sure. Well, first off, thank you so much for inviting me on this morning. I was not ready for this conversation on an early Friday morning, but this is good stuff. So thank you so much for bringing me in. And I'm already enjoying the conversation and kind of have some thoughts around some of the comments that I heard a few of your callers make already. But before I get into that, just a little bit about myself. As you mentioned, my name is Aisha Tompkins. I am the founder and the CEO of Aisha Tompkins and Associates. And Aisha Tompkins and Associates is a management consulting and training firm. And what we do, we specialize in helping companies and organizations and enterprises protect their bottom line and improve their bottom line. And the way we help them protect their bottom line is by, and this couldn't have been teed up any better if we would have rehearsed this. The last gentleman just now mentioned the EEOC, and he talked about pay equity and fairness. And one of the ways that my organization helps our clients to protect their bottom line is by making sure that they are incorporating fair and equal practices within their organization. Not only because it's a compliance requirement through the federal EEOC, but also it's just because it's the right thing to do. And that's the way that you retain employees. And also that's the way to avoid those costly discrimination and harassment litigation costs. So that's the way we help our clients protect their bottom line. We help them with setting up their policies and practices, particularly for startup companies who may not be really clear or sure on how to set up those practices and those policies for EEOC. We make sure that they're trained properly, their annual compliance training. And then, as we all heard, there's been a major focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion post the murder of George Floyd. And many organizations have bought into making sure that they have diverse, equitable, and inclusive cultures within their organization. And studies have shown that when organizations are focused and intentional about diversity, equity, and inclusion, they absolutely see an increase in their profitability. And so we help our clients to improve or increase their profits by way of developing diversity, equity, and inclusion formal strategies and initiatives and training in those areas as well. So again, we protect and help our clients improve their bottom lines.
Good, good deal. Now we got quite a few people. We got quite a few people that's here, and I know a lot of them gonna have questions. They want to ask you questions about exactly what it is you do. But let's talk for a second about the conversation that we had earlier. You say that you had some ideas as to what should happen or how that should play itself out. Give us some guidance on that.
Yeah. So again, the gentleman that mentioned the EEOC, our current Madam Vice President, one of her major initiatives coming into office was or is pay equity, particularly for women, because there's such an imbalance in the way women are paid compared to what men are paid in the corporate America structure. So she's looking to make sure that there is pay equity. And I can't tell you, there are countless cases that are pending right now in various state and even in the federal court systems where women have made allegations or complaints with valid evidence that they are being treated or paid differently than their male counterparts. So pay equity is a big issue. In terms of seeing salaries increase, and then at the same time, once you see your salary increase, then you also see that cost of bread, a loaf of bread increase and gas increase, and there's just inflation comes right along with pay raises. And I think that there's something to that, because in this pandemic, what we've noticed is that many employees have, I'm sure most of you on the call have heard about the Great Resignation that we're still currently experiencing, where there's been this mass exodus of workers leaving their companies, leaving their employers for a number of reasons. One, because they want something different. What if this pandemic hasn't taught us anything, it's given us some time to really be introspective and reflective about our current lifestyle and the life that we want to live. And many people started realizing, this job that I'm on, it doesn't value me. It's not allowing me to live the lifestyle that I want to live. I'm burnt out. I'm tired, I'm unappreciated, they can pay me more. And so those kind of things have caused many people to leave their current employer. And now they made the decision to go to another organization that would be willing to pay them more. And it's forced employers to say, ooh, in order for me to retain my employees, I do have to offer them more. Think about it. When was the last time pre-COVID-19, when was the last time you saw Taco Bell offer a signing bonus for new hires?
Never.
Think about that.
Never. Exactly.
The retail industry and childcare industries, they're now saying, hey, because we need employees and because we know that in order for us to attract and retain talent, we have to pay our employees more. And so there's this upsurge in salaries and earnings. And as a result of that, we are seeing prices being driven up, amongst other things. But I do think, similar to how in 2008 we saw that there was bubble and things began to I think we're gonna dip before we begin to even out. But I think it's a result of where we are today.
Are we in a good place?
It depends on who you ask. There are some that are absolutely benefiting from this, and then there are some whose households are negatively impacted by this. I think it's the way you handle or you navigate the season that we're in today. A lot of people left their employer to launch their own businesses. A lot of people left their employer and found and learned new skills that they are now able to take somewhere else in order to gain a higher income. So I really think it's the way you navigate this season and what you do in order to better yourself so that way you could come out on top. And I'm not suggesting that there aren't any obstacles and barriers. I don't want to minimize or trivialize the challenges that are as a result of this pandemic. But I think it's caused us to really get creative in the way that we navigate and look at our income, the way we look at our spending, the way we look at our saving. It's really forced us to do that if we hadn't been doing it before.
So you have to be very strategic right now.
Yes.
Good deal. Good deal. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis? Cassandra, you there?
I'm sorry. What did you just ask me?
Yeah. What's on your heart? You have any questions?
Oh, no, but she's giving great, and it's really something we all need to hear and to know to figure out where we are and what we need to do with our lives at this time, because she's right. The pandemic really put brought a light on for a lot of us that, okay, I need to do something different. And she's hitting it right on the head. So thank you for the information.
Absolutely. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Man, it's good to hear what she does, as a consultant. It's amazing how some people need consulting. And it's simply, sometimes I'm a very egalitarian type person when it comes to from the administration side of things. So I believe in dumping a whole bunch of resources and opportunities on the market and people going after those based on what they bring to the market. Instead of looking at yourself as someone else's responsibility, you have to remember you're your responsibility. It's your job to invest in yourself, to take advantage. We always talk about education. We also know the statistics between education and poverty. People with lower education are usually more impoverished. So after you've done all the work and got all the data, you have to say to yourself, hey, I could make a little bit more if I went to community college. That's why you have a program out there by leaders to say, hey, let's subsidize education and make sure that everybody that's in poverty has access to that to improve their skills. But what I can't do and never want to do is make you do it. So one, it's a political philosophy that means that let's put these resources and things out there. You have to choose what you want to do. I'm not going to sit around and think about, okay, how do we help people with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids? No, that's not my responsibility. I'm not on that side of the market. That's your side. So one, I believe in planning. You can't say, okay, I got 5 kids and minimum wage. No, the issue is you have 5 kids. That's the issue.
Yes.
You have more responsibility, which is going to require more investment. So you always have to look at that. Okay, how do I get the most out of me? How do I capitalize on my resources and my skills and my talents? If you choose not to do that in this type of system, you will be on the bottom. That's why you're on the bottom. Now add racism and all that stuff on top of that. That's going to make it much harder. So the job of the public administrator or the government is to remove these obstacles. That's good
Aisha,
government.
Absolutely. Aisha, what do you say to that? Minister Neal, coming to you next.
I think that speaks to the E in DE&I, which stands for equity. Oftentimes people think the E stands for equality, and equality and equity are two very different things. And equality, if I can, and pardon me if I'm insulting anyone's intelligence, and if you already know this, but that's the teacher in me. So equality means that everyone gets the same thing, fairness across the board. You get $100, you get $100, you get $100, everybody gets $100, right? Whereas equity speaks to access. Whereas I may only need $100 to achieve whatever it is that everyone is trying to achieve, Leonard may need $200. And so it's not that we're giving Leonard a heads up over me because I only got $100. We're leveling the playing field because his need in order to achieve the same thing that I can achieve with $100, His need is 200. It's equitable access. It oftentimes brings me to this picture, and many of you may have already seen it, where there are three people who are at different heights, right? So there's someone, so I'm a shorty. So I'm 5'2". Can't tell because I'm sitting down, but I'm 5'2". So I'm 5'2". I have someone next to me who is 5'10", and then there's someone next to me who is 6 feet, right? And we're all trying to look over this fence, and this fence is 6 feet 5 inches. Well, if all of us are given the same crate to stand on, and that crate is the same height, as a shorty, I still can't see over that fence.
Yes.
The person who is 5'10", they may be able to see it over it just a little bit. That person who is 6 feet can absolutely see over it. So that would suggest that in order for me to see over the fence and achieve the same thing that everybody else is trying to achieve, which is to see over the fence, my crate needs to be a little bit larger than everybody else. Now we're talking about equal access. Now that's equity. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Good deal. Minister Neil, what's on your heart, brother? You got a question? Unmute yourself. You okay? All right, good deal. Let's go to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
I think everything she's saying is so awesome because that access and that opportunity is what's needed. I mean, she said that key word too, inflation, earlier. Now, you know, some people take advantage of the opportunity to try to wipe away your access to equity. I saw this when I saw the I'm gonna say the increase of temp forces, temporary agencies that were denying people that were already at the bottom the pay they deserved, and also keeping them from being permanent on these jobs and working without insurance, taking advantage of the people. And so, you know, that word she said, equity, that's the big key. That is the key to everything. Everybody should have the access of the opportunity. But what I'm realizing, I'm probably gonna stray a little bit, because sometimes you hear me speak about revolutions. I mean, everybody think when you speak about a revolution, they think it's physical or violent. But to me, there's a mental revolution going on. Because as a representative, I also saw that there was a need for companies to understand that worker morale was also important to their bottom line. See, you can't survive if you got a high turnover rate of people coming in and out of your job system because they feel underpaid. Maybe they are underpaid. And so, you know, you have to have people in place to fight for you. But now you have the PPP loan came out, all these different opportunities for people to finally say, well, you know what? I'm tired of going from job to job and them determining what I'm going to get paid. I'm going to pay myself. They decide to step out on a limb and become their own bosses, because a lot of these companies don't understand that they do rely on the bottom line. So now you see exactly what the sister said. Taco Bell offering signing bonuses. McDonald's shutting down for a day because ain't nobody showed up at work. I mean, this is the first. I'm seeing people waking up and showing these companies, yeah, you are a billion-dollar industry that has to depend on people from the lower class to keep your system going. Every year we hear about your profits. Every year we look on your billboard and you say billion served, but we still making minimum wage. I remember when Honda and Mercedes came to Alabama, we were some of the most underpaid people. Boeing is down here now. GE, so many big companies. Now you can't go too many places where not only do you make more than $20 an hour coming in, but they hiring straight through the door again because they need people. Now they understand their true bottom line depends on manpower. And if you want to keep a good, happy workplace and you want to be truly successful, then everybody got to be happy, because every piece and every muscle, every piece of brain work utilized at your company is beneficial to your bottom line. So now, like as I see this this momentum turning. The people are getting back control and waking up and understanding. Don't none of this stuff work without us. Our military won't work if we don't join the military no more. They'll have to stop all that unnecessary spending. And we say, well, you know what? We ain't joining no more because y'all don't utilize the military for the right purposes. So, you know, people are waking up. There's a mental revolution going on. We're wiser and smarter, but we're also being more humane. And we know we understand our worth. Now these companies are understanding our worth because they happen to up the rate of pay, or they happen to close their doors for days at a time because they ain't got nobody to show up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Aisha, you want to comment on it? Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on that, he is absolutely right. You know, the tagline, my company's tagline is profits rise where employees thrive. If you want your company's profits to rise, you create a culture where your employees thrive, thriving being making sure that they are paid properly, so that way their lifestyle, they can be comfortable in their lifestyle, making sure that you're creating an environment where employees feel as if they're not only being able to groom, to grow professionally and personally, so that way they can thrive. When organizations are intentional about making sure that their employees are thriving, then they can see their bottom lines increase and their profits will rise. And I think that he's absolutely right. You think about like the housing market, where sometimes we say, okay, we're in a seller's market and we're in a buyer's market, right? Depending on how the pendulum is shifting. Well, right now we are in an employees market. Employees are demanding that employers pay them what they're valued at. They're demanding that employers create environments where they can thrive. They're demanding that employers create environments that are diverse, equitable, and inclusive. And not only can employees make those demands and really hold the employer to the fire, as evidenced by McDonald's having to shut their doors, small organizations having to close. We want to put everything on the pandemic. COVID-19 didn't cause all of this. No. COVID-19 was a triggering event. There were some things that were happening prior to COVID-19 that COVID-19 only shed the light on. And now it's causing those organizations to say, whoa, maybe I really do need to make sure that my employees are treated fairly. Maybe I really do need to increase their salary. Now, that should have been done pre-COVID-19. It's just COVID-19 had to shine the light on it. And so I absolutely agree with your last caller.
Absolutely. Minister Neil, you got anything, brother? Okay, you okay? All right, good deal. Let's go to Badger. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Man, that's a lot of awesome stuff. You know, one of the things that, you know, I still find, not sure if I was understanding right. You know, that's been one of my biggest sticklers when it comes to minimum wage. Is, you know, when it goes up, the point of it is to give the lower class American people more money to spend, be it toward rent, products, groceries, you name it. So to see other things go up, it doesn't change the foundation. It just makes it where, oh, look, we're in the exact same boat we was before. Versus, okay, this person that couldn't afford to get that thing of bread can now afford to get that thing of bread. So therefore the sales start rising across the board. Is it going to be immediate? No. Because some people are going to want to try to save up and stuff because they know in the past, everything always goes up. Because it's a cycle. And to me, looking back and doing the number comparisons, you know, I'm 35. So doing number comparisons to the amount of times the minimum wage is raised up versus how much groceries have gone up, gas has gone up. You know, I remember when I was a kid where I grew up, I could take $5, go get my dad a pack of smokes, get a soda, and get a Little Debbie. Little Debbie's cost what, $1 now?
Wow. he threw a little commercial in there, Little Debbie's. Okay, I got you, brother. I got you. Aisha,
dude, those moon pies.
Okay, you get a little sidetracked when you're getting hungry, brother. Hold on for a second. You're getting hungry. Aisha, what's on your heart? And Tucson, we're coming to you next.
No, I agree. He's absolutely right. We see salaries increasing, and as they increase, we're seeing the value or the price of products and services increasing as well. And so it's like, well, where does it balance out? Where does it flatline? You know, when can employees and workers actually begin to feel and experience and see the increase in their salaries, and which of course forces employers to continue to raise salaries, and it forces employees to demand higher salaries, and it just kind of keeps climbing. And I can't say that I have an answer to how we get to a place to balance it out. You know, I'm not an economist. I'm not in politics. I wouldn't dare go into politics. But it's a vicious cycle that I'm not quite sure I have the answer for how we get out of the cycle and the rat race. I do think that there is something to increasing or focusing on our skill sets and our talents to make ourselves or to increase the marketability, our personal marketability, to get those higher paying jobs, to get those higher paying positions.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I know Leonard also said this earlier, because I think Raheem got disconnected again.
I think so too.
The amount of people that I know that work at Walmart or work at these McDonald's or wherever that have college degrees in business and computer tech and things like that. They go to college, they're wanting to get these degrees, but some of them aren't willing to leave where they are to go to the bigger cities that have more opportunity for the degrees that they have. So they end up being stuck in these lower level jobs because the opportunities in the area that they're in are not there. So you don't tell people, like I have a friend of mine that literally is in the area, and he has a bachelor's degree in computer coding, but he stays in the county that we live in to take care of his mom. So, and he's working at a fast food joint.
Wow.
Because nobody around here can hire him or choose not to. So, and a lot of stuff I'm experiencing, I share and I ask about and I talk about is, my experience is helping, being in the fast food and retail and, all kinds of different jobs, going to college myself, and realizing that why should I go for this degree if the area I'm living in right now, I'm going to have to save up and move, plus pay off my college debt.
If I can answer that,
Absolutely.
One of the things that I think, one of the good things that came out of this pandemic is many organizations have realized that employees are able to work remotely. And we see a lot of employers moving to either a hybrid work environment, which means that sometimes you go in the office, sometimes you work from home, or even they're allowing employees to work 100% remotely. So the need to have to be in the same city, county, state where that organization is headquartered in order to do the job or get the job, that's almost been removed. So, looking for those positions that are allowing their employees to work remotely, so that way you don't have to leave the county or the city where you've been. Some roots caring for your mom or whatever the situation may be, remote work is becoming increasingly available, and I think that's a good thing that has come out of the pandemic.
Anybody have any other questions? Toussaint, I know you got something on your heart, brother. What's on your heart?
I just some companies they have people like my sister here that had already sat down and figured this thing out. How we gonna come out of it for the better. For instance, they already figured, okay, here's what we're gonna do. There's going to be some people that no matter what you say, they're not going to want to get vaccinated. period.
Okay.
So the company, like some that are government agencies or have a government contract, they say, okay, we're going to lose so many people here.
Mm-hmm.
They sit down and say, okay, here's what's going to happen. So what they do is overhire. They hire too many people.
Okay. Okay.
And they hire too many people that are vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And on the other end, for instance, there are some companies that their contract is up. They say, oh, perfect timing. Now we negotiate the contract. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to overhire. We're at the end of the year, the fiscal year, whatever. We're in a new contract. So what we're going to do is the Christmas holidays is coming up. We're going to offer them a bonus. And we're going to pay them before they go out for Christmas. So now here's what's going to happen. Some people, all they're worrying about is right now. And so they say, oh, before I get out for Christmas, they say that in the new contract, they're going to give us $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get back, they say they're going to give us a $2,500 bonus again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they're going to do to that contract? They're going to sign that sucker. Can I say sucker on
brother? I think you just did, brother. I think you just did. I'm just my hearing. You know, I might turn my hearing aid up, but I think you just said it, brother. Aisha, what do you say to that?
I think he's right.
Mm-hmm.
I think employers are becoming increasingly creative in how to retain employees. Because I mean, think about it. At the end of the day, people are in business not for a hobby. They're not in business because they don't have anything else to do. Most people are in business to make money.
Yes.
And they realize in order for them to make money, they need employees, unless you're going to be a solopreneur, right? And in order, and again, because we're in an employee market where there is a demand being placed on employers from employees, employers are realizing, I need to make sure that I'm offering them bonuses. I need to make sure I'm offering them additional incentives. I need to make sure that I am creating opportunities that is not only going to attract new employees, but that's also going to retain or keep my current employees, whatever that may look like, you know, and unfortunately, maybe their reason for doing it may have some nefarious intent behind it. But at the end of the day, they're trying to attract and retain employees because they're trying to protect their bottom line as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have another caller. Curtis, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what up, Randy? What's going on, family? How y'all doing?
Hey, doing well. Tell everybody where you calling from.
Charm City, baby. Charm City.
Baltimore. But for the people that don't know, that's Baltimore. What's on your heart, brother? We have Aisha right here, man, and she's actually educating us on a lot of things, man. I know you've been listening in for a minute, so is there anything on your heart right now?
Well, I'm glad that she's doing the work, you know what I mean, make adjustments because, you know, I mean, in my studies and my little time, you know, paying attention, you know, one of the things I learned when I went through economics was, you know, a lot of what has happened is the result of many years of following such things as like trickle down economics and you know, and I mean, it's my belief in this day and age, you know, God giving back to the people who was supposed to get it from day one, you know, with Reaganomics, the introduction of Reaganomics shifted how companies, let me make sure I get this as close to right as I can. The introduction of Reaganomics shifted how companies address their overhead. Prior to Reaganomics, 70% of, if I'm not mistaken, 60 to 70% of a company's take went to overhead. Let me make sure I get this right, bro. 60 to 70% went to overhead, and 30% went to staff. Went to, went to the people.
Salaries.
And then with the introduction of Reaganomics, that shifted. So it was like 30% went to profit for the company, and it just shifted. And the people then started having to take place. For example, you start getting a lot more addendums. You know how you work a job, and now you got an addendum where, okay, you're not doing one person job, you're doing two people jobs, or you're doing three people jobs, right? And okay, now you're paying a higher premium for your health insurance. All of the overhead that a company had, the profit, the company started profiting 70% and only paying 30% towards overhead, when before Reaganomics, the company was paying 70% towards overhead. You know what I'm saying? So, people like her, man, they standing in the gap. You know what I mean? Like, I remember hearing a senator talking in committee, and they were talking to a bunch of economists, and specifically Jeremy Diamond was there. And she went around the table, man. She asked all of them, do y'all know what the minimum wage is? And none of them could tell her. She asked them a series of questions. And then she said, well, she got to this one economist, and she said, well, let me ask you a question. What should the minimum wage actually be? And of course, he didn't want to lie in front of them folk, because you lie in front of Congress, you can go to jail for that.
Yeah.
And he came straight out and told her it should be $21 an hour, right? And
wrap it up for me.
When he came out and told her $21 an hour, I looked like, wow, because at that time I think the minimum wage was like $10.25. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, like, why not pay the $21 an hour?
Exactly. That's a good deal. Aisha, do you want to respond to that?
No, I think he's absolutely right. The question that I always had was, how do they land on the $21? I think there has to be some reverse engineering. When let's say we use a baseline of a family of 5, and that's taking into consideration 3 children, husband and wife, or spouses, right? And reverse engineer and think about, okay, what is the average cost of grocery? What is the average cost for gas? What's the average cost for insurance? I think that when we take all those things into consideration and then we reverse engineer, then we can really land on what the minimum wage should be, instead of taking this arbitrary number that we pull out of the sky and say, oh, it should be $21. That sounds good. I don't know if there is a reverse engineering process that takes place for them to land on what the minimum wage should be for the average American family size home. And then when you start talking about other dynamics about single family homes, or single families with single parent family homes with children, more than 3, 4, 5 children, then that's a whole nother dynamic. And I don't know if all of that is being taken into consideration.
Absolutely. Well, we got a lot going on this morning. Aisha, how much more time do we have with you?
I am open this morning, especially because this dialogue is so good. I'll hang out with you all for a little while if you don't mind.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want you to do is tell everybody, again, introduce yourself and tell them how they can get in contact with you. You don't have to go anything. We're going to transition over. We're going to keep you as a part of the conversation. Sure. We have another guest here with us as well, as you can see on the screen here. But tell everybody a little bit about yourself again, and how can they get in contact with you?
Again, thank you so much. Again, I am Aisha Tompkins. I am the CEO and founder of a management and training consulting firm. I am based in the Atlanta area. We support our clients in helping them to protect their bottom line by making sure that they have policies and practices in place to avoid discrimination, harassment claims, and to make sure that they're just creating a culture that is fair, equitable, and diverse for all employees. And we also help our organizations or our client organizations improve or increase their bottom lines, because research and studies have shown that when organizations are diverse, equitable, and inclusive, their profitability increases because their employees are happier, their employees thrive, they're much more productive, and they are able to retain and attract good talent. And so you can reach me at info@AishaTompkins.com. That's info@AishaTompkins.com, or you can visit our website at www.aishatompkins.com. I'll be more than happy to talk to you to see how I can support and assist you and your organization.
Absolutely. Or you could go to Spotlighting Georgia. She's actually on Spotlighting Georgia up under the services, and so she's actually there as well. She's a part of the family. I want to turn to my left. We have another gentleman here. Well, we have a gentleman here with us right now, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself. A very good friend of mine, man. This guy here, he's gonna knock it out the park as well. I'm building you up, brother. Don't let me down now. No, but this is Mr. Travis Gatson. Tell me about it a little bit about yourself, brother, and what you do. What you do, brother?
Well, I'm pretty much a career lawman. I've been policing since 1987, and right now I'm the chief investigator for the Gwinnett County Solicitor's Office. And I also have to mention that my wife, the lovely Patsy Austin Gatson, is the district attorney here in Gwinnett County.
Power couple.
Yes. But I'm really enjoying this conversation because I did a stint for like 7 years. We owned a gourmet popcorn shop, and that might have been the hardest job I've ever had.
Absolutely.
So I'm really enjoying everything you're saying, Ms. Tompkins, and everything is, and it is hard work, and I have nothing but respect for entrepreneurs and people who are starting their businesses and getting management and or employees and dealing with that aspect. I deal with employees, but a lot of times what I deal with is more of a paramilitary. They're gonna do what I tell them to do, for the most part.
Exactly.
I've also pastored. I spent 7 years as a pastor of a church.
Yes, sir.
It's funny because the church was called Travis Chapel United Methodist Church, and my name is Travis. And I didn't name the church. It's been there for 80 years. I just told them that the name wasn't going to change.
Yeah, there you go.
I enjoy
keep it just like that.
Yeah. So I'm having a good time. Life is good. I'm enjoying everything and just trying to make a difference in Gwinnett County.
And I'm glad you said that, because you took me to my next transition. I was going to ask you the question: what is going on in Gwinnett County right now? The highs and the lows. I know, brother. I know. It's but what do you say if you had to put it on in a nutshell right now, Gwinnett County? What is going on? What pros and cons?
I really think we need to work. It's hard to say work with our families, our children, and everything, because it is tough right now in society in Gwinnett County. Jobs and things like that are tough. And a lot of things I have found is dealing with domestic issues. In the solicitor's office, what I do in the solicitor's office is that all misdemeanor crimes that are allegedly committed go through our office to prosecute. And we have a police force, which I'm the chief of the police force, that we investigate. So after, let's say the police is called and let's say they made an arrest, it's still not over with. We still go out there and we still continue the investigation. And with the pandemic, and I'll just say before the pandemic, some of the toughest time that we had was during Christmas time, a lot of times during the summer vacations, because families are together, and sometimes these families don't get along when they're together. And with this pandemic and a lot of families together for longer extent periods of time, it has become tough. And I think we cannot not work on our families. And I think we're all involved in that. You know, a lot of people want to say, well, that's that family, or that is their parents' fault. But you know, I remember that it took a village to raise a child.
Absolutely.
And anything we can do to help, you know, this past Thanksgiving, we were out handing out turkeys and food. And I remember doing it in years past. And the people who are coming through the line this year were driving Mercedes Benz, all these different types of vehicles, you know, because they are struggling. You know, and we got to do something to help families.
And with that being said, we have two guests. We have Travis, we have you here, and we have Aisha here. With that,
hi, Aisha.
With that being said, how could we maybe marry the two together to make it better for the community as a whole?
Well, you know, jobs is critical, and like what she's doing and helping people get employment is critical. I think when you have a job, and then you talked earlier about minimum wage, what that would be, you know, those things are critical. Can I afford to buy a loaf of bread? And it's funny how when she really got me thinking about doing that reverse thing to check about what minimum wage is. I know every month when I do my budget, I always have to try to figure out gas prices. Because we do you do a budget and you forget to do gas prices in the budget, and you wonder why you don't have money at the end of the month. It's because you spent all this money on gas.
Absolutely.
And then a loaf of bread goes up because of the gas prices and everything.
It's almost like gas and milk is competing against each other. Gas and milk, you know, and people, you know, people are looking at gas, but milk is going up. Aisha, what's on your heart?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, we keep saying that it's just this increase in prices, and how are we going to be able to maintain our life and the way we live, and being able to just sustain. And I'm not talking about any type of lavish lifestyle. You know, one of your callers earlier, a young lady, she mentioned just keeping the lights on. You know, it's becoming a challenge for many people. I too am in the Gwinnett County area. I live in Gwinnett County in Lawrenceville. And so I'm very familiar with some of the challenges Gwinnett County is facing. And it doesn't surprise me to hear that folks pulling up in Mercedes-Benz and BMWs who normally, you know, are able to do everything during Thanksgiving and the Christmas holiday season that they would normally want to do, are now needing to receive and need support and assistance during these times. And that speaks volumes as to where we are today, and what, again, I have to keep going back to employers, because that's where my focus area is, getting employers to understand that you absolutely have to take care of your people. And there used to be a time where I thought that maybe the employer just didn't have it within their budget to pay salaries, or to increase salaries, or to take better care of their people. But what pandemic showed us was that, yes, they do. Because going back to a comment I made earlier, if Taco Bell is able to offer bonuses, sign-on bonuses to get people to come in, that says to me that they have money within their budget to pay their employees higher salaries in order to make sure that their folks are able to live and take care of their families. And it should not have taken a pandemic and a mass exodus of people leaving the workforce in order for employers to realize and recognize, I got to do better by way of my employees. And so what I encourage as many people to do as I possibly can is start your business. Start your business so that way you can create opportunities and jobs for people, so that way you can take care of them the way you know that they need to be taken care of.
Absolutely. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? I caught you right when you're about to take a sip. Timing is great. Timing was great. Go ahead, brother. What's on your heart?
I think hello, Mr. Travis, first of all. Always appreciate Mr. Travis and seeing him being involved because of his experience. Like I say, it's various approaches. And one thing I like about younger people is younger people understand. Younger people know, hey, if I want to wear a Gucci, and that's the thing about it. We have to remove moral judgment. So I see young people right now, they whole motivation for going to college and getting a great job is to get that greater car apartment, drive that big car, and wear the fashion designer clothes. That's okay with me, but that cost.
Yes.
So you have to structure your life to afford those things, or else you're going to turn out to be a thief. It's amazing that there's another concept that a lot of people never think about it. Well, the cost of bread is this, that, and another, but you could also make your own bread for less. People don't think like that. But when you're in a situation where you have to do certain things, you make adjustments. Now, I don't know, like I said, I tell people, I was sitting at meetings and things, and you hear people talking at these higher levels, and then you realize, hey, I'm poor. You know what I'm saying? I'm not wealthy at all.
Yeah.
I never was wealthy, but I always had to make ends meet. So I couldn't afford to live downtown. And I couldn't afford a car. So my life had to be, first of all, I have to find an apartment, and I have to live where I have access to transportation. That was my whole plan for Georgia, which is why people who come from other places here are so successful. It's because they come with the intention on doing just that. They didn't have an opportunity to watch, when things cost this much or when that much. Here's what I need to get what I want. That's a very present concept. So the minimum wage is based on what is the minimum amount that a person has to make to provide for bare necessities. Not affording whatever you want, but bare necessities. Those people who are at the minimum wage level usually are going to have to live on the side of town where things are more affordable, which is why we fight. There's a difference between low income housing and affordable housing. And we should never confuse the two. The reason why people are driving up in Mercedes to get turkeys, because even despite the fact of how much they have, they still realize the value of free food. It helps their budget. If a turkey is $25 and I can go somewhere and get it for free, I'm going to go and get it for free. Unless I choose to pay $25. So coming from the working person's point of view, like myself, I couldn't do certain things because I couldn't afford it. I remember when you could get a 1-bedroom studio apartment over on the east side, DeKalb area, on the train line, you could pay about $600. But I had to live in a place where some people considered undesirable.
Yeah.
But that's what I could afford. And so I never look at, some people actually believe that somehow something just magically appears and people create businesses to hire you. No. You're always a liability to a business unless you're really affecting their bottom lines.
Good deal.
So, we negotiate for what we want each and every day. The best thing to do, and the market actually is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, because the market has no moral values. That's your part and what you bring to the market. And so we have to operate on that perspective. What is it that you really want? If you desire minimum wage, you must understand that you are going to live at the bottom, because that's where minimum wage is. It's the minimum. Yes, businesses always had the money to pay you more. But if you own the business, would you choose to pay people more or less? From a business perspective, you have to look at it. What do they contribute? If anybody can walk in here and do the job, they're not going to get top pay, because anybody could walk in and do the job. We're seeing now where people are being replaced. If you're not planning for it to live in a world where manual labor may not always be available, you're going to be left out, because now you're going to have more skills and talents to get involved. It's great what's going on right now, like with my son, for instance. And I have younger kids, and they're in the workforce now. And I'm like, man, you can make $15 to $20 an hour now and live with me. Live with me.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with that money that someone else is using, because they have to pay it? And at the end, when they get their check towards the end, it's almost all accounted for because of what they have to spend. Whereas you get to live with me and make the same amount.
Good deal.
You should think about things that way. Is how am I going to do it? And definitely, you cannot depend on other people or have this concept that people are doing things for your benefit. They're not. They're doing things for their benefit. And that's always how you have to understand that.
All right, preacher. Okay, now, preacher. Hold on now, preacher. Let me call on somebody else, preacher. Boy, Lord Jesus, boy, they gave the preacher gave the preacher the mic and the pulpit. Lord, my Jesus.
Let Jesus save folk. Y'all go to work.
Good deal. Toya with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Hey, what's going on with you? So I know you've been listening to the conversation. I wanted you to get a grasp as to what was going on with it, man. And what's on your heart right now?
Oh, yeah. So we always known that the profits is what they don't want to come up with. Let's talk about the minimum wage, right? Department of Labor has a lot to do with that. You know, I don't know. We know that there are subcommittees within the Congress that help set certain laws. And for part of the African American development and one of the jobs, those are all white men. Just to throw that out there, let y'all know. But at any rate, the Department of Labor and the FLSA are the ones that set this minimum wage, and they set it, so they say, in accordance to the cost of living. It doesn't say cost of increase or cost of can't think of the word right now. Inflation. It's the cost of living. So that means, you know, the area you're living in, which is not true, because we're at about $1,100 now. So we have governmental departments that so-called impose price control effects for not only wages, but only for the cost of things, price gouging. They're not allowed to do it. So it is a mandate of our federal government that needs to get in line with the wages. First of all, keep in mind we came from slavery. See, anything more than picking cotton requires work and thought. So any job you get is required a wage. And I'm going to use this for example, fast food. Because a lot of people look down on fast food, but you know, I do fast food. And do you know fast food employs over 11 million people? It's one of the top 5 industries around because everybody eats. Now you think it don't take no thought to get up in there and flip no chicken, drop some fries, but I promise you, I can get a head chief from NASA to get up in the kitchen, and he can't do it. So we have to understand that all of these rules and regulations are, again, coming from a government that once believed in slavery. We still trade with countries right now that pay people $2, and we don't care. Long as I get my Gucci. So let's be real about what's really going on, the knowledge that we know. Let's be real about the government. Let's be real about the fact, had we stayed to ourselves, made our own businesses, and create our own houses, we wouldn't be caught in this trap of paying Jim Walter $270,000 for a house, and you're making $725. This is a collective thing here with people in America. It's a collective thing with the things that go on. Kind of ties into what we spoke about yesterday about voting, or the other day about voting. It's bigger than us, and we need to become active and vocal. And in the event we don't, we need to get back to our own.
Exactly. Travis?
Well, you know, everything y'all was saying was good. I will say, though, Leonard, one thing you said, and I agree that a person with a Mercedes, you know, if it's cheaper to buy or get a free turkey than to pay $25. But I will say that this past week, that Mercedes stood in line for 3 hours for that $25 turkey. So I don't know if that was really worth it, you know. But yeah, I think that's critical. One of the things when you're talking about, I think Leonard also said about being able to pay for the clothing or end up, you know, getting in trouble to pay for the clothing. One of the biggest things that we deal with on a daily basis is shoplifting. We deal with that all the time. And, you know, some of our stores like Walmart, we took them to task because what they would do is they would catch someone shoplifting, call the police. The police come, take the person in custody. 95% of the time, Walmart receives their well, let me just say that store, so I don't say that store receives their property back. So at that point, they done had the showing of the police force. They got their property back, and now we're trying to get them. Well, what are you going to do about the prosecution? And we can't find them.
Wow.
You know, they can't. And so we have to go after, well, if you're not going to prosecute, then why don't you just not arrest in the first place?
Exactly.
You know, but they want to have that show, you know, and, you know, those are problems.
Yes,
those
it
are
is.
problems. And I know with my wife, with dealing the DA's office and the things that she has to deal with, like we just saw, you know, I'm sure everybody's seen in the news about these this mother and her significant other murdering that 8-year-old child. Well, that's sitting right in my wife's lap right now, you know. And whenever you hear anything in the county like that, you know, we actually, you know, have to deal with it. And how do you deal with those type of situations, you know? So it's tough, you know, and but I will say this, and I think I can say it with no problems, that we are a praying couple.
Yes.
And so we try to pray for Gwinnett County every day. And we have a specific day that we have a group of us that actually go to the 4 corners of the county individually and pray for that area.
Wow.
And I think with being on here today, we're going to add, we always pray for, you know, crime to go down and that type of thing. But we're going to add employment and businesses and things like that we're going to add in our prayer. And Ms. Tompkins, I implore you, if you were a praying woman, to pray for this county and everything that's going on, because that does help.
Yes.
It does not hurt at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Aisha, I see you unmuted yourself. You have something on your heart?
No, I just wanted to agree. Yes, sir. I am a praying woman and a woman of faith. So I will absolutely partner with you in praying for our county. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good deal. Good deal. Curtis, what's on your heart? Rico, coming to you next.
You know, one of the things that my last employer, one of the things that they gravitated towards that I threw on the table is folks, at this point, folks have to make a true and real investment in its employees. It can't be a fake investment. It has to be something real, and it has to be something genuine, something that tells the employee that you have a belief in me and you're working as best you can to see to it that not only am I good, but my family's good.
Yes.
I was listening to the sheriff. I had a call come in. That's why I kind of went out and came back in. But I was listening to the sheriff talking. I'm seeing it all the time. The idea is, okay, throwing out jobs. And it works. What he's saying, it works in communities. And policing at one point here in Baltimore, it was deemed that if you was going to be a Baltimore City police, that you had to live in a community for which you would police. Now, the union came in and kind of shut that down. But guess what happened when they did it for that short span? Communities started to change. They started to alter, because now in that neighborhood was somebody from that neighborhood. Somebody lived in that neighborhood who was also policing that neighborhood, and it worked. But you know how it is with the policemen's union, so we know that. But if you're going to throw out these jobs, as much as it may hurt, I hate to use the term mandate, but there need to be some stipulations, because these employers are going to get certain tax exemptions for tagging on. they're going to get certain reliefs and this, that, and the third, and they're going to get they're going to get touted as a job creator in a community. But if that job that's being created is a job that's going to exploit the people in the community, then all you're going to do is just, in my business, we call it running the track.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay attention, when you get on the track is it's an oval circle. So where you started at, you're going to come right back to where you started.
Mm-hmm.
So, just I would implore anybody that when you're talking about the bringing the jobs forward to the communities, please hold these CEOs and these company execs and these HR people, please hold them to task. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is those people going to filter in and they're going to filter out.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name made a really good point earlier, Raheem, Rico,
Mm-hmm.
when he was talking about the temp agencies.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't understand that a temp agency, as good as they are with getting people jobs, they also exploit the people because there's no real there's no watchdog on them.
Mm-hmm.
So what they'll do really quick, what they'll do is you come into a temp agency. The temp agency rule says that every employee must work 1,600 hours before they can even be hired on permanent with an employer. So they know they got you for 1,600 hours. Some temp agencies, once you get close to that 1,600 hour window, guess what they'll do, Raheem? They'll shift you to another employer.
Mm.
Oh, we don't have that contract no more, but we got this contract over here. Or they'll say, okay, well, you're making 18 over here. If you take this job over here, you'll make 1950. The average person is saying, okay, cool. But they're not even thinking about the fact that, hold on, I'm still a temp. So the 16 hours start over again when I go over to this other employer. There are several things that's being done that if you don't have the right watchdog and you're not putting the right things in place, the people will still get slighted.
Good deal. Good deal.
So, but I was listening when I tapped back in.
Okay.
And sound like folks is on point. That thing y'all got going on in Gwinnett. Brother, I wish you the best. If I was there, I would lend my hand to you. I wish you the best in getting things done.
Absolutely. Now we coming up on the 9:30 point. So let's go back to our 3 minute where everybody, when you talk, keep it within 3 minutes so we can get as many people and rotate as much as we can within that time. I want to touch as many people as I can within this last 30 minutes. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
See, now we're talking about the side of economics and capitalism that people don't like to acknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The way people abused it. I said it earlier. It was abused from the very beginning. Human beings, especially over here in America, we have bare necessities, basic necessities that we all need to survive. Food, water, and shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I went live yesterday and spoke on that. Now, the slave owners in the past, the original capitalists, they made nothing but profit. They provided all that food, water, and shelter. No matter how deplorable it was, at least they provided it, those basic necessities. But somewhere, somebody had to come in and say, wait a minute, you got to do a better job than this. People start running away, start running to the north. I can go up north and make a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
I still got to go through a little racism, maybe some slavery and stuff in the north and the Midwest, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll just go out west to California. You remember that big migration? Everybody from the South went to Detroit and went to California, getting away from the South because of the fact that they abused the system.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I always wonder to myself, was this intentional or was this just a way of life that happened to trickle down? See, Curtis said that word earlier, trickle down. You want to talk about trickle effect. That's a trickle effect.
Mm-hmm.
I brought that up about the temp agencies. I've seen it happen so much right before people were going permanent. They get them out of there and then bring in a whole new crew
mm-hmm.
of temp people.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalizing, being opportunistic and greedy. Somebody said, well, you know what? It really isn't logical Because if we got jobs to hire people, we got personnel people in our office that we pay that does the hiring. But how about we just take the hiring process from them, even though that's their job and we pay them for it, and give it to a company. And as a matter of fact, the wages we supposed to pay these employees, we'll get them a portion of that pay. That way we ain't paying no extra. We taking it and still saving money because we don't have to give pay raises and we don't have to pay insurance for these employees. People taking advantage of the system. So, you know, before I became a union rep, when I was young, I always wondered, why haven't the people really stood up and understand how this system works? Because it just didn't make sense to me. That the people didn't understand that this should have always been an employee's market, unless somebody was going to beat you and kill you. But they manipulated us with this little bit of money and then consuming to be able to want to get things that we just got caught up in this system. We are so far out of order that we have contributed to it, but now it's crashed because it can't survive at the rate that it's going. It created a class. It created 3 classes. And now it's about to create 4 classes. Or maybe just 2. Maybe they're about to wipe out the middle class and just create the lower class and upper class. But this system of greed made that possible. And so, you know, I question how this, well, I ain't gonna say, I'm gonna say I'm happy to see this day and age because I know to me it's been 30 years overdue. I feel like right now it's 80 degrees right before Christmas. That's the way it feels. Like I'm in paradise, seeing people waking up and put their foot down and make demands and make the employers actually conform. This system they created, they created a hell of a system, and we just bid it. I can remember a point in time when you had equity, like Miss Tompkins brought up. I want to apologize earlier because I called her sister. I forget these names sometimes. Miss Tompkins brought up equity, access, and opportunity. At one point in time, you could come in at the bottom, but if you were a hard worker, you were smart, and you understood the process, and you was about the company, you could work your way to the top by hard work. Because ain't that what they always used to tell you? You work hard, you can get to the top. But then somebody came in and said,
Well, hello?
I hear you, Badger. I probably hear anybody that's still connected to the feed.
So
I can still hear everyone.
Yeah, Ms. Tompkins, she can probably hear because we're all online. And as Rico was explaining, you know, different points of view. Of course, my point of view is extremely different because one, I never had a desire or what have you, or a belief that I would ever be able to stay in one place. And so because of where I'm from, that was what planned my life, to leave where I'm from, because I would not be able to take advantage of many of the opportunities and things offered other places. The minimum wage, for instance, national minimum wage is probably around $7.25 an hour. Now, that $7.25 an hour from a national standpoint, that's not going to work in Hawaii because you're going to need a lot more in Hawaii and all these other places. So I'm more on the planning side of things as opposed to this notion that it is the responsibility of private corporations to look out for my best interest, because that simply is a false narrative. However, we have to understand many people have built their wealth when that type of opportunity was available. No person my age believes you're going to work anywhere 20, 30 years. The reason why most people's answer to that question was like mine. You know what? I could go to the military and retire in 20 with a lot of benefits. So that's why I'm going. I don't care nothing about patriotism. How am I going to eat and have a roof over my head and provide for me and my family? Never that, hey, they got a lot of money, they owe me more. You'll never get paid what you believe you're worth. Never, ever. That is not even how the system was created. And even though you have I work for temp agencies all over the place. And one thing I always knew is that I wouldn't be there long, simply because I simply cannot survive on what you're paying. And I must move on. Now, those people who are going to stay here found out that in that particular area of manufacturing, guess what? Those companies could decide to move. People choose staffing agencies is because from a business point of view, they're cheaper to deal with. They take a huge cut in overhead by getting rid of their human resources departments and hiring staffing agencies. That's how that works. You don't have to, I know a lot of people say staffing agencies don't pay nothing. Well, you know what? At that time, being new here, that was the easiest, newest thing I could get. So that's why I was doing it. Because staffing agencies take advantage of transients in big cities because they know that everybody's coming down there to get their foot in the door. I remember when it was 625, I believe. Now, I knew I couldn't be there forever. I think that I may have worked there maybe 2 or 3 months. So the notion that we have to move away from I'm going to do as least as possible, but I'm going to enjoy everything else. And economics is more than just money. Economics is decision making. Everybody does not want 5-bedroom houses and fancy cars and all. Everybody don't want that. But it's definitely there for people who do. What we have to understand is those at risk, those that, like, say, for instance, that mess around there and have to deal with Mr. Travis, for the very simple fact, they have chosen to do something else.
Exactly.
I could have chosen to sell dope, but I don't want to go to jail. So that was my big reason for not selling dope. I didn't care nothing about no moral value. I just needed some money. But then Mr. Travis them over there doing their job to the fullest. So I got to change. I got to adapt. And many dope dealers changed.
Yeah, exactly.
They adapted. They took that money and did things like create billion-dollar music companies. Because they knew they had everybody that has something comes to that notion. And Mr. Travis will tell you one thing about rehabilitation is when you get locked up and you sit down and somebody talk to you, you know what? I should do it another way. Here's a way I can do it. That's how we know what programs to fight for people who have been in and out of jail and things like that. Okay.
Absolutely.
If you tell me the reason why you did it is because you couldn't find a job, let's focus on getting you a job.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. That is the number. We got a few more minutes before we get out of here. Definitely give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Got a couple other callers that's on the line, but right now I want to go to Aisha. Aisha, what's on your heart?
I'm just enjoying this rich dialogue again early on a Friday morning. This is typically not how I spend my Friday mornings, but this is really, really good. I'm excited to hear that there is a focus and an understanding of what's happening in our labor force and the changes that are needed to be made within our labor force. And again, the demand that employees are making on employers and how employers are really having to step up to the plate these days and make sure that they are creating cultures and environments where employees can thrive. That is of utmost importance. So I'm just really excited and thankful for this conversation that we're having.
Hey, definitely good to have you, sister. Definitely good to have you. More than welcome to come back anytime you want to. You're a part of the family. Badger, you wanted to say something? Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the things I've been seeing lately on like a lot of the social media, like TikTok and different things like that, and I was really happy to see things like this, is there are people out there that are like lawyers or like Aisha that are making videos and stuff teaching the public the laws behind getting proper jobs and different things of that nature. I was laughing at what Leonard was saying earlier about the military, because now there's videos out that people are putting out there of people in the military looking at all the things that even the fast food place is offering, and they're just shaking their head because they're like, I joined the military to get all this, and now they're doing it. You know, so I think, you know, looking at the way things are nowadays, you know, the mixture of companies starting to wake up to take better care of their employees because that's how they are going to earn money anyway, mixed with the people that are out here, you know, not just helping businesses, but also helping the just Joe Mo off the street, you know, learning how to work the system that's already in place to get the best that they can get.
Exactly.
So like, make a decision. If you're going to go to college to get a degree, you're going to have to move or make sure that where you're living, that degree is going to get you the job you want. Otherwise, you're going to have to move and live somewhere else. So like, base where you live or where you want to move to in your decisions of your income.
That's good. That's good. Let me go to as a matter of fact, Travis, you had something you wanted to say earlier.
Yeah, well, now I done moved on to something else because everything. But you know, as far as us in law enforcement and the prosecution area, I think one of the things that we can do, and that we are doing, not what we can do, but what we are doing that can help the workforce, is like in the DA's office, they have something. I say we.
Yeah, come on now, come on, come on.
But they have something what's called RED, rehabilitation equals. I can't remember the acronym, but anyway,
you in trouble.
Yeah, okay. Well, don't everybody out there, don't tell on me. Can we keep a secret?
Yeah.
But but anyway, what it deals with is this is pre-trial. So this before they get into the court system, a person gets in trouble. I believe they're from the age of 18 to 28. And there's certain violations of the law that this is in, but they can go to a 12-month program. And this 12-month program is outside of the court. I want to make sure we're clear on this. It's outside of the court. So when they complete this program, they don't have a criminal record.
Wow.
They don't have never, so the judge doesn't sentence them. So that's one of the things a lot of people don't understand what the prosecutors can do. A lot of people, I remember one judge was asked one time, who was the most important person in the courtroom? The most important person in the courtroom is the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that actually bring in the case to the court. So if they don't bring the case to the court, the judge can't do anything with it.
Okay.
So they have these programs, this RED program in particular, that and it's teaching them how to do job interviews, teaching them how to deal with a checkbook and all these different things. And if they pass this 12-month course, then they won't be prosecuted for the charge.
That's good.
You know, what we're doing down in the solicitor's office is called expungement, you know, or record restriction. But those also, you got to deal with those are specific charges and everything. But if you qualify for it, you can get, oh man, somebody knew it. Thank you. When you get qualified for it, you can actually get your record restricted. And also what people don't realize is that then you got to go to the clerk's office and get it expunged there so that an employer will not see that when they're looking it up. Law enforcement will still be able to see it, but employers will not be able to see it. What does this do? This helps people with their applications to get housing. It helps people with in the job market. Another thing we're trying to do also is we have some of these extended stay hotels where they are run down, and it's sad to see a school bus show up there to pick up kids who are living in there.
Come on,
these rundown facilities, and we're in the solicitor's office or citing them to be up to code, or we're going to turn it into affordable housing and have a place for the residents who live there to go. So we're trying to do our part in that thing. And then finally, what I wanted to bring up was as I'm sitting here in the studio, I can look across the street and I can see a business that no longer is there. It's a large business. It's no longer there. When I look and see that, I see that there's no jobs and there's a vacant building and there's no jobs in it. Then I see a gentleman walking by that appeared to be homeless. And I can remember when I first started in 1987 that Gwinnett County declared that there was no homeless people in Gwinnett County.
Wow.
They sure did. And they declared that for years. And one of the hardest things that happened was when we cut down on mental health hospitals or mental health places, because we have a place for a person who is completely that has serious mental health issues, but we don't really have a place for someone who's functioning but have mental health problems. And that's sad in a sense, because these people can be very productive, but they end up being in the when you talk about employers, probably the biggest business in Georgia is the prison system.
Yes, sir.
That's where the big business is at.
Exactly.
And they want these people to come in there.
Yep. More money.
More money.
Absolutely. Bishop, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, man, I'm blessed. It's good to hear your voice. Good to hear everyone and hear the conversation at men.
Yes, sir.
You know, just thankful to be here.
Hey, anything on your heart right now?
Not particularly, man. I think everybody's covered some things as it relates to the workforce, and then hearing my brother here talk about law enforcement. You know, there are two things that are near and dear to my heart. One is law enforcement, having served for 12 years, and the other is politics. And so when I'm hearing the conversation of what we're trying to do and improve the lives through the court system, putting in programs to help them change their status in life, I think it's beautiful. To have Candace doing that, reach out, to our DA's office and the solicitors who are doing wonderful jobs facilitating their positions. And at the same time, we're dealing with a government that has been corrupt from inception. And we can only work towards changing those things by being, as voters and not speaking up and protesting at a civil matter. So, having worked in workforces and own my own business, I understand all the ramifications of it as it relates. But that's a great show, brother. Black Friday, Business Friday. And I know you always open up to any kind of conversation, but the folks that have been speaking and I've been listening, man, I've been hitting this thing, right on the head. As some say, hitting the nail on the head.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed it.
Hey, appreciate
and Rico
you,
up there doing all that talking and got y'all kicked off. Ain't that something? They had to put a pause in there.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing, my Rico.
Uh-oh.
Make a change. Cry loud, brother, and spare not.
There you go. There you go. We got another caller from the 816 area code. 816 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Goddess, Kansas City.
Goddess, you've been listening in. I wanted you to listen in for a little bit before I came to you, get you up to speed as to what's going on. So what's on your heart right now?
There's just a lot. I really want to thank the brother that was a law enforcement to bring up a lot of things that need to be addressed within our community. And expungement is one of the key factors into getting a job. But one thing I didn't hear much of is, I don't know if people are paying attention, that they had over 19,000 in that refused to get the shot, and then other 9,000. And a lot of jobs are now trying to mandate the fact that you must have the shot in order to start to work for them. And that right there is going to be that's going to be a problem. Because I don't think that it is a violation of our civil rights to mandate that what we do with our bodies. So that's going to pose another issue, and we're going to be back down to square one. That's why right now I think a lot of people are not working. They're more trying to become more self-employed now. So I think that's something that we need to address. But the military, like they said, over 19,000 people are refusing to do the shots. And the U.S. Supreme Court came out where it's not, I mean, you're violating our rights, making us get a shot. And you got over 2,000 doctors going up against the World Health Organization, stating that this is unnecessary.
Let me get, and I'm glad you brought that to the table. Hold 1 second, so excuse me. Let me get some feedback on that. Aisha, what do you say to that? This mandate. What is your stance on that?
So just to be clear, the mandate is for employers who are organizations that employ 100 or more employees. They require their employees to get vaccinated. So if you work for a smaller organization, or let's say a mom and pop company, then there isn't any mandate on that size company. And of course, our essential workers, law enforcement, healthcare, so forth and so on. But in terms of my stance, personal opinion, I think that while I understand that there is, I absolutely agree with freedom of choice.
Yes.
If I can kind of deviate a little bit, and I posted something on my Facebook page just yesterday where I said, there are masses of people who are saying that it should be our choice as to whether or not we should be vaccinated or not, from what has proven to be a very deadly virus. But then within that same mass of people, there are those who don't think that it's a woman's choice to have an abortion or not. And so we kind of, well, where do we draw the line between what's your choice and what's not? And so I'm all for freedom of choice. Let me say that.
Yes, absolutely.
However, when you start talking about being an employee, and unless you're in an environment, unless you're working in an organization where you are able to be in a bubble and you're able to work 100% remotely from home, where there is very limited contact with others, I do think that there should be some type of requirements in terms of how that employer is able to keep their employees safe, whether that be requiring vaccinations, whether that be allowing those who have opted not to be vaccinated to work from home, so that way they're isolated from others. I think that employers have to find ways to make sure or ensure the safety of all employees. Now, does that mean a mandate from the government? I can't say that that's either right or wrong, but I do think it is the employer's responsibility to ensure the safety of all employees.
Okay, good deal. Let me go. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? What's on your heart concerning that?
Well, it done went into another direction, so you know what I'm saying. I don't think we got enough time for real. And being that this is Black Conversations, I just want to say I was glad the sister came on and spoke about the employees market. I think we were waking up. I want to say power to the people, and then I want to take advantage of the opportunity to say, I watch a lot of documentaries, right? A lot of true story, real life documentaries, and sometimes I might fall asleep on them. Last night, I didn't go to sleep till like 2:30 or 3 o'clock this morning. I stayed up and watched a documentary, man, that I think everybody should go and watch. I ain't gonna say I think everybody should. I'm gonna put it out there and invite everybody to go watch it. Finding Kendrick Johnson.
Wow.
Y'all know who Kendrick Johnson is.
Absolutely.
You know, it's about the case down in Valdosta. And I don't know when the documentary actually came out, but it's on Amazon. So I watched it last night. It's a little over an hour and a half. I want to put that suggestion out there for something, for the people to go out there and watch. I know this doesn't relate to the two topics, but at the same time, this is back conversations, and I might forget to tell y'all Monday. So I'm telling you now why it's on my mind.
There you go. Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, read this here for me, brother. This is somebody from the chat. Public citizen.
Public citizen. Most people do not have a valid excuse to not be vaccinated. Most of these people think they have done research because they have read some nonsense on Facebook.
Wow. Travis?
Wow. You know, when I think about it, I wonder how we had these problems many years ago in the 20s, 1920s.
Yes, sir.
You know, when they had vaccinations for different type of things that are commonplace vaccinations now.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Our children are getting vaccinated. I wonder how much they fought. This might just be something natural in the realm of, and at some point, you know, everybody will just be a norm and get vaccinated on it. Because I do believe in, you know, choice.
Yes.
I do believe in choice, you know, pro-choice or whatever, however you want to call it. I do believe in that. But then the other side of that coin is, how do you affect my life?
Yes.
Your choice, and when your choice affects my life,
come on,
then there's an issue.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, when we talk about the mask, we forget that the mask in the very beginning was not to protect the person wearing the mask, but to protect the other people
absolutely
from their breath going out and catching it. So when you decide not to get vaccinated, then my question is, are you concerned about me? Or is it just a selfish on your own self? Or, you know, I mean,
not getting vaccinated. What?
What'd she say?
Oh Lord,
what you just say? What y'all just say about not getting vaccinated?
Hold on.
Or is it a concern of your own? Are you concerned about him, or are you concerned about yourself?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Excuse me, brother.
Well, yeah, but you know, that's where it goes with me. Is this? I chose to personally get vaccinated, and I chose to get the booster also. But you know, for other people also, because I have, you know, underlying issues that I want to make sure that there's protection. The only true protection is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Come on now. Come on.
I want to confirm that. But He does put doctrine in our lives to help us.
The preacher about to stand up. You better watch out now.
Let's not forget that, you know. And
the preacher about to stand up.
But
yeah,
you know,
stand up, preacher. Stand up for both sides. Because I'm not getting that vaccine, and I'm thinking about me as well as everyone else.
Okay.
So if you are vaccinated, you're thinking about yourself, right?
both sides. You're absolutely correct.
Hold on, Toya.
You're absolutely correct. I'm thinking about myself.
I don't want to be. Toya gotta say.
Hold on. Hey,
go ahead, Toya.
Excuse me. God is. First of all, you know, hold on. Y'all know we don't do it like this. This is not how we do it now. Don't do that. This is not how we do this. This is not how we do this. All right. Hold on. Go ahead, Travis.
The way I was saying is I do think about myself as far as the vaccination. That's correct. But I also think that I'm sitting right here, right next to Raheem. And I would not dare sit next to him during this climate if I had not been vaccinated.
Exactly.
I would never be here in person sitting next to him if I wasn't vaccinated, because I care about this brother.
Exactly.
Like I don't want anything. I might not be affected, but I might pass it on to him, and who knows? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to start nothing. And since there is no mandate probably for you, that's fine. I just wish we would really research and make decisions, because we got to stop this variant somehow. It's got to stop.
Exactly. Go ahead, Goddess. We actually at 10 o'clock.
I just want to let everybody know that I don't know if anybody believes in biological warfare, and it's real. I don't know if people understand that they have the DNA that has been broken down to, and the biological warfare are the same. They've been able to break down the DNA to the point where they can say this is targeted for certain people and certain people not. Now, my personal belief is irrelevant. But the true thing is the difference between this vaccine and all the other vaccines that you fail to realize, this is a messenger RNA, which is totally different. They're having problems with the spike protein.
Let me do this. Guys, hold on. Because hold on.
Let me finish, please.
Hold on. Guys, hold on for a second. Because we're going in a totally different direction. We already at the 10 o'clock. So if we start this right now, we're not gonna be able to conclude it. So this is what we will do.
Okay. But can I just finish my sentence?
Go ahead, finish your sentence. Go ahead.
I hate when you do that.
It's okay.
No, that's not right.
So the mRNA is a messenger. So it's not like any other vaccine. Nothing like it. It also has nanoparticles in it, which is nothing like any other vaccine.
Finish it up, sis. Finish it up now.
So when you all talk about, look at certain vaccines, it's basically the same. No, it's not. And we already know that our DNA has been targeted, and we have been targeted forever throughout history.
Okay, listen again.
So we need to look at that at any time. And if you're already vaccinated.
Okay, I hate doing that, but she's not gonna stop. Because it's time for us to get out of here, man. And like I said, my thing is, we're not going to turn this into a battle situation. That's not what we do here. We're not going to do that. It's not this against that. Everybody have the right to have their opinion, and we have to respect everybody's opinion. That's just what we do. Everything decency and in order. Everything has to be decency and in order. And I'm not gonna sit here and allow it to get out of order. That's not what we do. Rico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today?
If you missed today's show and would like to see it in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dklmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Leonard, as a matter of fact, Travis, you pray us out, brother.
Oh,
yes, sir.
First of all, I do want to ask Miss Aisha to get in contact with Raheem and get my information, because I think our offices and we could do something, working with the DA and Solicitor's office. So, because I think you're doing some amazing things. So keep that up. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It'll be my privilege.
Yeah. I'm a little bit taller than you, man. Oh, Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you, Lord, for allowing us all to come together, Lord. Different opinions, Lord, but we come together with one true thing, that is to serve you, Heavenly Father. So watch over us, Lord. Give us traveling grace, Lord, and allow us to do what we are to do this day, Lord. Give us our daily manna, Heavenly Father, and touch us right now in the name of Jesus, Lord. Touch each and every one of us, Lord. Let your light shine through us so that someone somewhere can see you and know that there's a better way and a salvation for them when they leave this place. We thank you in your precious Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Yes, it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and associates to be a part of your day. It is now 10:04. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know, it could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And we shine some of this light in you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? You'll have a great weekend. Love you, and do me a favor. Take care of each other. Be blessed.